Thank you, Mark. We see each other later on. Now we want to change a little bit the setting, and it's my pleasure to invite Miles Wellesley from the MBA class of 2014 to the stage. Miles is a finance expert, and after graduating from Sloan, he joined Robinhood. He made an idea to matter, to democratize the financial system. Miles is currently VP of Business at Robinhood and launched in 2015. The brokerage has grown by millions of customers and billions of dollars in transaction volume. So welcome, Miles. Please come up to the stage.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, Miles, let's start with the basics. For those who don't know the company, what exactly is Robinhood and what's your role there?
Right, so Robinhood's mission is to democratize financial services. We have a platform that offers zero commission trading for equities, options, ETFs, cryptocurrencies, as well as a premium product called Robinhood Gold that offers third-party research and margin lending. We were founded in 2013 by two friends from Stanford and publicly launched in 2015. As Uli mentioned, early this year, we announced that we have over 6 million customers on our platform.
So that's exciting, but tell us a little bit from the past. How did you come to Sloan?
Oh, sure. Oh, I guess one thing, my role there, I forgot to answer your question. So my role, I'm Vice President of Business, and so I oversee teams that focus on partnerships, corporate strategy, and strategic management. So a lot of different things. But, so sorry, the question.
So I guess you're pretty much well equipped for the job. What brought you to Sloan to equip you?
Yeah. So what brought me to Sloan? So before Sloan, I was working at Cambridge Associates, which is a large institutional financial advisory firm based here in Boston. And I had an interest in technology. I had started a small startup with a friend. Before Sloan, kind of on the side, and I knew that coming to Sloan would give me an opportunity to kind of think about, opportunities to combine, financial services as well as just technology and learn more about entrepreneurship and going from 0 to 1, and it's really helped me along the way.
I understand from our conversation there was a point in time during Sloan where you considered to leave Sloan before graduation. So what finally made you stay?
Yeah, so after my first year at Sloan, I went out and joined a startup in Menlo Park, funny enough in the building right across from my current office. Joined a company called Quantifind. They had recently raised their Series A. There were about 50 people at that company. And when I joined, it was a great opportunity. I got a lot of responsibility right out of the gate and was kind of checking all the boxes for really what I wanted to achieve coming out of Sloan, which was to work at either start a company or work at a really small early stage startup. And so I was evaluating whether or not to continue and come back and join my class in the second year and to graduate. And it was interesting. I had a conversation with Maura to understand what is it like for students who are considering taking a leave of absence. And she had mentioned that I think once your class and the people that you study with, especially in your first year, kind of move on and go on to other opportunities, there's not the same kind of attraction to coming back because the Sloan network and the bonds that you make, especially in the first year, are so powerful and important. But I decided to come back, obviously, and I'm so glad I did. It gave me a great opportunity to work on starting a little company idea called Local Eddy with one of my best friends, Greg Fiore, and I would say that was a lesson in going 0 to 1, but it was really a lesson in going 0 to 0.5 because we never really got it off the ground. But I also took 600, the undergrad classes. And really tried to work on some of my technology chops, and that really helped me as I was looking to go back into the startup and tech field after Sloan. And so I'm so glad I came back and could be a part of this community.
And we are glad that you stay and that you are part of the community. So you joined Robinhood in 2014, right after graduation. So it was started in 2013. How did you hear about Robinhood, and what made you exciting about joining it?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. So Robinhood, when I first reached out to the team there, probably was just I think 5 or so people, and certainly hadn't launched or didn't have a product. And so I found Robinhood by reading an obscure fintech blog where Beju Bhatt, one of the co-founders of Robinhood, was talking about the vision of Robinhood, which did not yet exist. And he was talking about using technology to level the playing field for everyday investors. And I had been at Cambridge Associates, and one of my personal clients was the 16th largest investor in the world. And I had kind of firsthand knowledge of a lot of the benefits that the kind of ultra wealthy or institutional investors might have. And it really resonated with me, this idea of using technology and innovation to create value and be able to pass it back to everyday customers. And so I wrote a cold email to Beju, actually to a fake email address that he was still checking at the time. And I put in the subject line, MIT student, interested in Robinhood, and in there I talked a bit about how much I love the vision, how I've been taking some coding classes. I had heard that he had talked about his Python stack or Django stack, and tried to tailor my email as much as I could, and started a conversation, and I continued to have calls with the team every couple of weeks through my second year.
Wow. So at that point in 2014, they had a vision, but they hadn't launched a public product at that time. So how did you transform, an idea into a platform with 6 million users?
Yeah. So it definitely takes a village. I think that the people at Robinhood have been fantastic to work with, just incredibly intelligent. And it was interesting. So when I joined, we had Beju and Vlad had already secured funding, or multiple rounds of funding, I guess the Series A, and had announced the Robinhood service on a few social media channels like Reddit and Hacker News, and the waitlist had gathered around 100 or a couple 100,000 signups at that point. It was so interesting because when I joined, and you're in this really early stage startup, you're what you're really looking for is product market fit. Like, product market fit is the most important thing for any very early stage startup. You either have it or you kind of don't. I think the waitlist was an amazing way, without having to actually invest a lot in the product or anything really early on. It's an amazing way to understand that your vision is resonating with the group of people. And so I joined, there were a few 100,000 people who had signed up, and that waitlist grew to over 1 million people. So I joined in August. By December of 2014, it had grown to about 1 million people. And it's really interesting when you're, especially in a business role, coming into a startup. I think it had 12 people when I joined. The role is really to kind of do whatever is important to ensure success of the company. It's not, you're not in an ivory tower thinking about strategy or, Porter's 5 Forces or anything like that. It's you're kind of thinking, okay, well, now we have a wait list of 1 million people. We got to onboard these customers. We have to support them. We have a team of 12 people. How can we leverage our technology and engineering capability to scale? And you end up kind of doing everything. So early on, I was writing code. I really had no business doing that, but I was writing code. I haven't written code since then, but I'm very proud of the fact that I am in the repository of code. The whole company was working customer support at times. Founders on down, everyone was working on customer support just to meet the needs of our customers. And just kind of dealing with all the issues as they were coming up, and hiring and trying to create leverage across the board and using technology to do so, which was really, really important. And I think, having been at Robinhood now and kind of fast forward, it's so interesting to kind of think about the different challenges and the different stages that a company goes through. And I think the kind of high-level tagline for my role and for my team is essentially to do whatever is most important to the company at the time. And I think the scale is just so different today, and we're very focused on continuing to scale our products in a way that really drives impact for millions of people. And so it's they're kind of like different challenges, but it's been an amazing experience.
So you partially answered already what it means to build a business from the scratch, so doing literally everything. But is there, from your experience, something particularly important in the financial industry, what to consider?
Yeah, I mean, I think within the financial industry presents a lot of opportunities. I think that there hasn't necessarily been a ton of innovation in financial services over time. The same products have been available to people for decades. Your checking account, your savings account, your brokerage account, all the various products that exist out there. But the companies themselves haven't really kind of changed a lot in terms of the technology that they use to bring their service, whether it be the customer experience that they build for customers, or if it's the technology that they build in-house in order to be able to take advantage of different cost structures and to create value and pass that back to customers. And so I think it's really important to kind of to create new financial services with technology, because really I think, as a technology company within financial services, you can kind of reinvent the cost structure and the business model and create tons of value that then you can give back to customers. And it's very different, I think, than a financial services company that's trying to build a technology capability. A lot of traditional financial services companies outsource their technology development and don't own any of that part of it. And it's just becoming a critical part of running that business and running a business at scale that works for everyone. And so I would say that improving financial services is extremely helpful. There's a lot of opportunity there, and of course, if you can improve people's financial lives, it's hugely impactful and meaningful.
Was there anything specific at Sloan that prepared you for this environment?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit, but I think a lot of the team-based work was really important. I took the Get Shit Done class over at the Trust Center. So Greg and I got to spend some time just kind of hammering on our idea, and I think that was hugely helpful. It's funny, I mentioned taking the 600 class, but all of the problem sets were due right before the C function. And so there were a lot of times I was like standing in front of the building, kind of rushing, trying to get my problem sets in so that I could go and, go drink Miller High Life or whatever. But, the other thing that was really helpful was, I was able to be a co-president of the VCPE club, and it gave me an understanding of the venture capital landscape. I met a number of leaders in the venture world at that time, and some that would eventually become investors in Robinhood. So it was hugely helpful to kind of have that exposure early on.
So the vision of Robinhood is democratizing the financial system. What does it personally mean to you, democratizing?
Yeah, so I think about it in terms of removing barriers. I think that there are a lot of products that cater to the ultra wealthy and don't really work for everyone. And I think the system's kind of built in a way that does disadvantage a lot of people. And so when I think about friction, I think about barriers, I think about things like account minimums, the ridiculous fees that are associated with accounts. And even the friction of opening account and being able to do that easily, like from a smartphone versus on web. And so I think that it's about removing barriers. So I think that the more people that participate in our financial system, the better off we're all going to be. And so I think that it's a really important thing to try to democratize the financial system that we have.
So the session is broadcasted all over to MIT Sloanies, and here today we might have also some future Sloanies. And we have, of course, those that graduated or are here for your reunion. Is there anything what you would tell future Sloanies or maybe also alumni that you think, drives is important?
Yeah, I think I would, my one piece of advice for newly minted Sloanies would be to be bold and take some risks and try to find things that you're really proud of and are impactful. When I graduated, even though I had been having conversations with the team at Robinhood, it wasn't a done deal in that I was going to be joining them. And so I spent about a month, crashing with a classmate and just kind of building a network in Silicon Valley. And, it was, I think I'm so glad I did that, kind of passed on some early opportunities to find the thing that was right for me. And I would suggest that new Sloanies kind of do the same thing, and also to be really tailored in terms of, or have a tailored approach to what they're when they do reach out to, at least for an early stage company, or really I think it's probably good advice for all companies. If you're going to reach out to someone, have a targeted email, talk about the vision, talk about the skills that you have and why that can help further that vision. Take that approach versus just sending like an email and just saying, hey, I'm interested, here I am. For the Sloan community more broadly, and for the alumni community, I think that we just have such a huge opportunity to, when it comes to ideas that matter and Sloan's mission of creating principled, innovative leaders. Think about what it means for an idea to matter. Think about what your principles are, and I would just urge everyone to think about, as you're creating efficiency, as you're creating value in these organizations, think about ways to pass that back to the most people you can, and to the society as a whole. Because I think that we're in some unique positions where we can drive a lot of value and help a lot of people. And I think it makes sense to kind of pause from time to time and evaluate, what's the impact that I'm driving and why is it important? So I would just suggest that everyone do that.
Thank you so much, Miles. That was a perfect roundup. Thank you for sharing your insights and your story, and we wish you good luck for your big idea and vision you have to democratize the financial system. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.